So, hey everybody. So we're going to jump to, I guess, the third part of this. I'm going to bring this up to one of my favorite songs on the planet, which is, I programmed it in here. Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Now, if anybody knows David Gilmour, he is a monster with pedals. And what I mean by that is I read somewhere his pedal board at one time was $40,000. Now he uses a clean tone on his amp, and then the rest of it's just in pedals. Of course, I don't have 40 grand to spend on that. And the truth is, one of the reasons I like the GT5 was it wasn't even a year ago. I probably owned 100 pedals. Now I kept a handful. I don't think you can see them over there, but the pedals I would always use, my fuzz. I have a Digivibe and things like that. But the whole point of using the Boss GT1 is if you ever use Boss pedals, then you know that to me they were the foundation of pedals. Now technically they weren't, but everybody at some point had an Overdrive OD1. One of my first pedals was the Blues Driver, right? I can't remember what number it was. You know, even the Noise Gate, the NS1 or 2 or whatever it is now. Those are great pedals. The 7-band EQ. I've owned all those pedals and I've used them. The difference is when you're on stage, you have to tap dance, right? Da, 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 depending on the song. The cool thing about GT1 is you can program what's called set list or playlist, and you can put them in order based off of what you're playing. That way it's easier to tap between them. Now there's a couple of downsides about the GT1. I don't know if you can have more than one playlist on it. Now, like most processors, it has the programmed 100 sets, and then it has 100 that you can program. Now, that's pretty common. But what I would love to have is multiple play sets. The thing about the play sets that you could do is set them up for your gig. Now, I say the GT1, they say it's the little brother or little sister of the GT100, but, and it probably could do multiple playlists. It only has 3 buttons, and we're going to get to that when we get to the screen. But if you can see here, let me see if I can get to the camera. You've got button 1 and button 2 that go up and down. And then you got this control button, which allows you to turn on these. It helps if you understand how pedals work. Okay. For an example, what are the chains? I can see my pedal. I have an FX and a compressor. I have an overdrive, my preamp, another FX and my modulation, my delay, reverb, and then these are just writing in memories. So if I want to turn on a reverb, I just touch that button. Now, when you're on stage, it's kind of hard, right? So what you can do is you can program this little guy to turn that button on for you. If you look, this one actually turns on my modulation, okay, which is a Digidrive, right? It's actually Digivibe. I'm sorry, not drive. I was thinking of the overdrive. A lot of times, like when you're playing lead, like when you're playing rhythm, you can step on this and turn on your overdrive, and it gives you that little boost just to cut you above the crowd, right? Cut you above the noise. It also has this miniature pedal, which is great for volume, wah-wah, anything like that. And you can actually do, I'm trying to set it back down. You can also do pitch shifts, right? So it has that built into it, and you can program those however you want. Now, we're going to sit here and do it, and we're going to do it to this song because you'll recognize this song. But the key to that is whenever you do this, I would recommend buying at least 1 or 2 more of the Boss pedals that you can program to this. On the back of it, you can add 2 expression pedals. You can add 1 right here, but it looks like you can add multiple because it says control 1, expression 2 or something like that. But what I would do is put your crybaby before the unit, right? Because if you know how, or even your volume before the unit. So if you understand how chains work, that would be before it comes into your processor, okay? And then your processor would go out to your amp. Now there's a great amp assimilator on this. This has some kind of, it says COSM. I did a lot of research on this, and it has a great amp assimilation. Now I've been using pedals for as long as I can remember. And back in the day, it was Line 6 had that little bean looking thing. I hated that thing. I hated the sound of a processor. To me, if it wasn't a tube amp that, you heat up the tubes and your guitar, then to me, it just sounded like crap. Digital has its world, Depeche Mode, The Cure, things like that. But when you're playing Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, when you're rocking, you want those tube amps and you want to push those tube amps. Well, now the amp simulation in the Boss GT1 is actually really, really good, as you heard when we were doing some of those demos. From there, you can just plug straight into your earphone and you only have to worry about an amp. Or you can turn the amp off. Still, you could probably still use your preamp. I don't know how you would do that. And then run it through another amp as making your sound, right? So there's a lot of functionality. There's a lot of functionality that you could do with this. Again, I would probably buy the extra pedal so you can turn on more of these buttons, which you can do. But I would have your volume or your wah coming into this because you'd want that pre-chain anyway, right? Putting your pedals together is called a chain. And then if you have anything post-chain, like your cabinets or your amp or whatever, have that obviously coming out of it. But in between, I would look at, I think it's an FS7, has 4 switches. So you can turn on 4 of these, which is really cool because then I can use my control, which we just talked about. I can program that. You can see that when we get to the desktop. I can program that to turn on my boost. So when I'm dancing with my feet, all I can do is step on that one and I've got it, right? Then if I want to turn on my delay for another song, but yet still leave the same preset, which you'll see in a few minutes because we'd have to do it here, then I would use the FS1, I think it is. But just look at its Boss controls, right? But let's break this song down. We're going to do, see if I get some real estate here. We're going to do Shine on You Crazy Diamond, right? And give me 1 second. I want to make sure that this preset, and you'll see what I'm doing on the computer in a few minutes. I just want to make sure I have this preset up and working. So, no, this one. So, the first thing I would do, this is my sound, okay? Now, if you know Shine On You Crazy Diamonds, I would come in, neck, pickup, and I would break it off a little bit. Now, I don't have a tremolo, so you're not going to get the full effect. I do, I just don't know where it is. It's around here somewhere. And I wouldn't play this on this guitar anyway. I think you see it in the background. I would play it on my David Gilmour guitar single coils. All right, so let's get this one started and see what it sounds like. So now with that, the next thing I would do, if that sounded okay, I don't, just playing, I would turn on my control, okay, which I push this red button, right, if I can, and what that's going to do is that's going to turn on my rotor, and I'm going to back off, because if you listen to the record, at this point he backs off, right, he kind of brings it down. I'd put it on my bridge, right, bring it up just a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, I was playing wrong notes. I need to stop me. Okay. And then as the drums and everything comes in, he starts bringing the volume up, right? Does that a couple more times. Famous notes heard throughout the world. And then what he does is he goes into the solo. So I'm going to pop back up to here. I'm going to turn off my control, right? Turn off the vibe. But I'm going to turn on my overdrive, which is the second button here, okay? And that's going to give me more of a lead sound, okay? And keep in mind, I'm showing you this is how you would do this kind of like in a studio type setting. So. something like that. So, but the point is, you kind of get it, right? So the whole point of that, let me turn this off, is how would I manage this in like a studio? Or I'm kind of showing you the flexibility of it, right? So I went to one tone, shine on, and in a few minutes we'll go to the computer and see how to modify all this. And what I did was I just turned on my buttons, right? Again, we had a clean tone for our intro, which is, just the whole... Again, not the best guitar on the planet to play the song with. And then I turned on my Digivibe for this one. Right? Now, if I had that switch I was talking about earlier, the FS, I think there's a 5, 6, and a 7. One of them is a pedal. You don't need it because you got a pedal here. Unless you just want 2 pedals, a foot pedal that is, I'm sorry. And the other 2 are controls, kind of like this one. But I would turn this control off, and then I would turn that one on and just do my lead, right? Anyway, you get it. So, all right, so I'm going to end this video, and we'll come back and do the desktop. So hopefully with this, you picked up some tones that you recognized. You picked up, the flexibility of the processor unit itself. And then we'll talk a little bit more about it, and then we'll break down some, actually how to do it on the computer, which to me is the most beneficial part. Now, let me talk about this first. One of the main reasons I'm doing the video is because, again, there's a lot of videos out there. Do not show me you opening a box. I hate those videos. When they're like, hey, look, it's a box opening. Cool. You can open a box. You show me what's in it, and then you're done. Okay, I want to hear it. Is it worth my money? I want to see what it does. And then you have other people who haven't used it very much trying to explain it to me, and that doesn't work either. There was one guy on one of the forums. He was so mad because somebody didn't know how to do the most basic thing, and that's how to save your preset back to this from a computer. And I'm going to show you that. It's just one button. But there's a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people sell it for $150. I paid $200 new. I talked to a couple of those people because they were on the Facebook message boards. The Facebook market group, whatever it's called. And I asked them. Most of them was because I didn't understand pedals. Now, if you understand pedals, then you'll understand this unit. And even if you don't understand pedals, they have this easy button, edit. Again, let me get the camera. That kind of helps you click between these, and it helps you learn how to do those things. But once we look at the computer, you'll see how much flexible it is. There's so many different options in here. And it's not one of those like Line 6 intros where you got to learn to program just to use the unit. It's pretty straightforward. It's very clean. Anyway, I hope this part was useful, and I'll see you shortly.